Chosen one, Tuesday will feel unusual, but it's for you. This isn't a coincidence. The atmosphere around you is shifting, and even if you can't yet name it, you can feel the weight of something unfamiliar in the air. A holy kind of unfamiliar. Not chaos, but calibration. Not disorientation, but divine rearrangement. You are stepping into a moment that's not bound by the calendar. It's coded into your calling. This Tuesday isn't just another day, it is a doorway. And only those tuned in will recognize what it truly is. A spiritual echo of your next level trying to break through the noise. Before we go further, pause for a moment and take a deep breath. Let your spirit open. Then, in the comments, write your most heartfelt, sacred wish, the one you've never fully spoken aloud, and place 777 at the end. This isn't about superstition, it's about spiritual resonance. You are making a declaration, setting an intention, and sending a signal to the realm that's waiting to respond. What you write is more than words. It's alignment in motion. Now, chosen one, like this video, subscribe if you haven't subscribed to the channel, and let's begin. You may wake up Tuesday with a feeling you can't quite describe. Not bad, not good, just different. And that difference will tug at you, pulling your focus toward things you usually overlook. A person's comment might strike you deeply. A dream might stay with you longer. A song might sound like a message. These are not just subtle moments. These are signals. Heavenly breadcrumbs. You're not losing your mind. You're gaining a new one. You're not being thrown off. You're being guided in. Every chosen one goes through a day like this. A day where everything feels a little tilted, but somehow perfectly timed. Where your schedule might get disrupted, but your soul feels more awake than ever. This is heaven's way of slowing you down, not to delay you, but to deliver you. When things feel unusual, it's often because you're no longer operating under the usual timeline. You're being synced with the Divine One. And that alignment never feels ordinary. It pulls things up from the past that you haven't dealt with. It highlights behaviors that no longer serve you. It surfaces patterns you're ready to break. Don't resist it. Study it. Listen to what this Tuesday is telling you. Because the discomfort is not meant to discourage you. It's meant to direct you. Some of you will feel a holy heaviness. Not sadness, but stillness. A silence so thick, it feels like time is holding its breath. In that quiet, you'll notice things, thoughts, truths, realizations that you've been too distracted to catch before. This is not emptiness, it's clarity, the kind that can only be heard when everything else goes quiet. Others may feel a surge of energy, an urgency to move, to change, to clean, to prepare. That's because your spirit knows something your mind hasn't fully processed. Something is coming, and you must be ready. This Tuesday carries preparation energy, transition energy. It whispers, you're about to be called forward. Don't ignore that feeling. Don't chalk it up to anxiety or randomness. You are being tuned. And just like tuning an instrument, the process may sound off before it becomes beautiful. You might feel stretched, emotional, restless. But let that be confirmation, not concern. The chosen ones are being aligned not for survival, but for significance. You're not being placed randomly. You're being positioned precisely. You'll notice how little things start to make more sense in hindsight. A conversation from weeks ago suddenly feels prophetic. A closed door now appears as a divine detour. That's what this alignment does. It connects the scattered dots and reveals the map that was always there. You were never lost. You were always being lined up. And when you're lined up, distractions lose their power. You won't react the same way to things that used to drain you. You won't chase after validation you no longer need. This Tuesday, your clarity will cut deeper. You'll speak less but say more. You'll move slower but arrive faster. Why? Because you're no longer rushing toward a goal. You're magnetizing it toward you. This day is not just about what happens around you, it's about what awakens within you. Your instincts will sharpen, your sensitivity will rise, you'll begin to distinguish between noise and message, between chaos and call. You'll feel yourself detach from the external timelines and anchor into something older, wiser, eternal. That's alignment. And alignment doesn't always look impressive to the world. It might look like walking away. It might look like silence. It might look like letting go. But in the spirit, those moments are massive. They are announcements. You're ready, you're chosen, you're aligned. Sometimes, what alignment brings first is exposure. Not to embarrass you, but to equip you. You begin seeing things as they truly are, not as you hoped they would be. That's why Tuesday may feel unfamiliar, because you're being stripped of illusions you clung to for comfort. The truth starts to speak louder. The masks you wore to survive no longer fit your spirit. That old personality, the one molded by pain and performance, begins to fall away. And when that happens, don't panic. That's not you falling apart. It's the false self being peeled off layer by layer. It's uncomfortable, yes, but it's sacred. It means your identity is catching up with your purpose. It means you're no longer acting out survival habits. You're stepping into divine design. That is why this Tuesday carries a tension between who you've been and who you're becoming. You'll sense it in your relationships. Some conversations will feel more shallow than they used to. Certain environments will suddenly feel foreign, even if they once felt like home. People you once leaned on might no longer feel aligned, not because they're bad, but because they belong to a version of you that is fading. That's the hidden cost of growth. Sometimes elevation means separation. But don't grieve what's falling away. It's not rejection. It's redirection. It's not punishment. It's placement. You're being rerouted without explanation. And the reason it doesn't always make sense to your mind is because it was spoken to your spirit first. The instructions didn't go through your logic. They were delivered straight into your destiny. You may not have the full picture yet. That's okay. You're not supposed to. You're not being asked to understand. You're being asked to trust. And that's what Tuesday will test most. Your trust. Trust in the timing. Trust in the silence. Trust in the invisible hands shaping things behind the curtain. Trust that the unusual feeling you carry is not anxiety. It's acceleration. And acceleration doesn't feel like speeding up. It often feels like pausing, like stopping, like shedding weight so you can rise. You're being aligned to move at the pace of peace, not pressure. So if you're not doing as much, don't let that fool you. Sometimes stillness is the most powerful spiritual act you can make. The chosen don't always look busy. They look balanced. You'll begin to notice that what once drained you now bores you. You're no longer interested in arguing, proving, chasing. Why? Because something inside you knows that none of those things are necessary anymore. You're not trying to convince the world you're worthy. You're living like someone who already knows they are. And when you walk in that kind of confidence, the atmosphere responds. Doors open with less effort. People treat you differently. Resources begin to flow. Not because you're forcing anything, but because alignment is magnetic. When your spirit is calibrated, You don't chase. What's meant for you gravitates toward you. But alignment also requires boundaries. Tuesday may show you where you've been too available to the wrong energies, where your yes has cost you peace, where your kindness became a doorway for exploitation. This is the moment to reclaim your space, to shut doors that should have closed long ago, to stop feeding what no longer feeds you. That may feel harsh, but it's holy. Protecting your peace is part of your purpose. And part of why this Tuesday feels unusual is because you're finally hearing the truth. Your heart whispered all along, but you were too distracted, too loyal, or too afraid to act on it. Now, the universe is removing the cushion of comfort so you can move into clarity. This Tuesday isn't a curse. It's a clearing, a sacred shakeup, a divine interruption designed to align you with the version of your life that's already complete in the spirit, the one that's been waiting for you to catch up. And now you are. Let that be your confidence. You're not behind. You're not lost. You're not too late. You're right where you need to be, between the ending of who you were and the becoming of who you were always meant to be. As you step into this unusual Tuesday, the outer world may appear unchanged, but something within you begins to whisper louder than ever before. It's not anxiety, it's awareness. It's not discomfort, it's divine stretching. Your soul knows what your schedule doesn't. This isn't just another day on the calendar. It's a moment heaven circled in permanent ink. You're not merely observing life anymore. You're being called to participate in it with full presence. And that means your emotions may fluctuate more than usual. You might cry without knowing why. You might feel an urge to disconnect from everyone, just to hear your own thoughts. That's not isolation. It's intimacy with self. You're not breaking down, you're breaking open. And when you do, you make room for light that couldn't reach you before. On this sacred Tuesday, be gentle with yourself. The spiritual upgrade you're undergoing isn't loud or flashy. It's deep, invisible, and precise. It's rewiring the way you process pain, the way you trust, the way you give, receive, and protect your energy. And most importantly, the way you speak to yourself in silence. That internal voice, it's about to become your strongest ally or your greatest saboteur. Choose wisely. This moment in time is teaching you that clarity doesn't always come before the decision. Sometimes, the leap must happen before the understanding arrives. You're being taught to obey what doesn't yet make sense, to move even when there's no applause, to trust even when the outcome is uncertain. This is the unseen curriculum of the chosen. Your instincts will sharpen. You'll begin to sense when something isn't right, not because someone told you, but because your spirit feels misaligned. That's your new compass. You won't be able to explain it logically, and you won't need to. The chosen aren't led by logic. They're led by spirit. And spirit doesn't argue, it simply moves. Tuesday may present you with an opportunity that seems small. Don't underestimate it. Hidden in the mundane is the miraculous. Sometimes your divine assignment comes wrapped in silence, humility, or repetition. Don't reject what looks ordinary. Heaven hides its treasures in plain sight. And remember, timing matters. This isn't just about being gifted, it's about being prepared. Being in the right moment with the right mindset. That's what Tuesday offers you. Not just a chance to act, but the awareness to recognize that the time has arrived. No more someday. This is your now. But with new timing comes new responsibility. You won't be able to carry the same weight. You'll have to release things you thought you needed, people you once leaned on, versions of yourself you kept alive just to be accepted. Tuesday calls for release, not just of things, but of outdated beliefs. Stories that said you weren't enough. Fears that told you to play small. Those stories can't come with you anymore. You're not the same person who tolerated confusion as connection, who accepted chaos as passion, who called pain a part of purpose when it was actually self-betrayal. You've outgrown survival. You're being introduced to strategy, to alignment, to walking with peace instead of constantly fighting for it. And as this internal alignment takes place, you'll begin to realize something sacred, that the signs were always there, the nudges, the discomfort, the patterns, the whispers. You weren't being ignored. You were being informed. Tuesday isn't the beginning of the shift. It's the moment you finally decide to respond to what's been whispering for far too long. There will be moments throughout this day that don't make sense. Don't try to decode everything. Some signs are meant to be felt, not solved. The universe isn't always trying to teach you something, it's trying to transform you into someone. And that someone doesn't need constant reassurance. They need stillness, clarity, and courage. You already have it. So if this Tuesday feels strange, good. Let it. Let it disturb your comfort. Let it stir your awareness. Let it agitate the parts of you that thought life had to stay small, predictable, or logical. Let this be the day you stop asking for permission to expand. You were never meant to fit in. You were meant to shift atmospheres. And that begins with trusting this exact moment, unusual as it may be, as holy ground, sacred terrain, a divine appointment disguised as a regular Tuesday. Somewhere along the way, you were taught to brace for impact, to expect delay, to assume disappointment. And while that mindset once protected you, it now limits you. It tells you that ease is suspicious, that peace is temporary, and that blessings always come with strings attached. But Tuesday doesn't carry that energy. Tuesday doesn't want you to be skeptical. Tuesday wants you to be open. You'll notice it in how your body reacts. The tension you usually hold in your shoulders might melt without warning. The thoughts that usually loop may pause. You might smile for no reason. You might feel like you're remembering a truth you've never spoken out loud. That's not coincidence. That's alignment whispering, this is what you've been preparing for. But here's the part most people miss. Alignment doesn't require effort. It requires surrender. You don't force yourself into position. You allow it. You say yes when your spirit says move. You say no when peace disappears. And you trust that even what you don't fully understand is still working in your favor. You don't need proof. You need permission to trust the way things feel. Tuesday carries the kind of energy that doesn't scream. It hums. It flows. It won't shout to get your attention. It will wait for your awareness to meet it halfway. And when it does, something shifts inside you. The things you were chasing begin to find you. The answers you kept trying to extract begin to emerge without force. You begin to receive, not just in material form, but energetically, spiritually, emotionally. And that's the essence of divine alignment. It puts your inner world in order, so your outer world can reflect it. It's not magic. It's law. What you allow inside of you dictates what becomes accessible to you. And Tuesday is here to open access, but only to the version of you that is done performing, done pretending, done shrinking for rooms that never saw your fullness. That version of you doesn't overthink every decision. It doesn't wait for everyone to agree before moving forward. It doesn't apologize for evolving. It simply exists in truth, in power, in grace. And from that place, signs don't just show up. They magnify. They become unmistakable. Pay attention to small things, the lyrics in a random song, a sentence in a conversation, a look from a stranger that feels like recognition. These aren't just coincidences, they're confirmations, messages sent through the veil to guide your next step. You are not lost. You are being led. This is why you've been feeling the pressure lately. Why things that used to comfort you no longer do. Why connections that once felt safe now feel draining. You're being positioned, cleansed, fine-tuned. Because where you're headed cannot afford the baggage of confusion, fear, or hesitation. Tuesday comes to separate clarity from noise, and you'll know exactly what to release. And here's the powerful truth. The signs were never random. They were always custom fit to your soul. You just needed stillness to notice. And now that you're seeing them, really seeing them, your entire life recalibrates. You'll begin to feel pulled rather than pushed, supported rather than stretched, activated rather than anxious. That's how divine alignment feels. It doesn't mean life is suddenly without obstacles, but it means you know who you are as you face them. It means you move with wisdom rather than urgency. It means you trust that timing is not just divine, it's precise. Tuesday is showing you how to live in that precision, not rushing, not stalling, just flowing. So when this day feels unusual, don't resist it. Welcome it. When it feels unfamiliar, don't shut down. Stay awake. Stay aware. This isn't just a detour. It's a download. You're being handed new information about yourself, about what's next, about what truly matters. This isn't noise, it's signal, and your soul is ready to receive it. Because you're not just walking through a strange day, you're walking through a divine echo, a moment saturated with purpose, a Tuesday that doesn't just feel different. It is different. It's the kind of day that rewrites something inside you, quietly, powerfully, permanently. You won't leave it the same. You weren't meant to.